What up, doe? What up, doe? We are back at it again. I know that we said we were going to take a slight pause, but for the most part, off season, we're going to keep it running. Obviously, there's plenty of things to still talk about during the off season. Today, we'll talk about our defensive grades, and I'm going to let CB lead that in a second. But also, we'll talk about some free agency. We'll talk about some things as far as the new offensive coordinator and what we might be looking for. So be on the lookout for that as well. But for now, of course, we're going to review some of the defensive grades, go over some regular stuff from the regular season, talk about some things that we love to see the Lions improve upon. But of course, if y'all forgot, my name is King Keith. Y'all can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at _ Dr. King's Dream. I'll pass it over to my co-host.
All right, what up, world? We are back after a couple weeks. Want to take a little break. Obviously, February is a little light for football. Obviously, if you don't make the Super Bowl, whatever the case may be. We are back to talk this episode about the defensive grades. I know we gave grades for the offense. Now we're going to give grades for the defense. Dun, drum roll, classes in session, people.
Yeah, so we're going to break it down for y'all by position group. We'll talk about the defensive line, and we'll talk about some standouts, and CB will go over some stats. We'll talk about the linebacking core, and then we'll talk about the secondary as well. So stick with us. We'll get through them. But definitely want to get through some good topics and discussion. So, CB, go ahead.
All right, so we'll start position-wise, defensive line. So the Detroit Lions defensive line, and for time purposes, we'll try to keep it mostly to the starting lineup. We got Marcus Davenport, we got DJ Reader, Aidan McNeil, Aidan Hutchinson. We sprinkle in some Tyleik Williams, Roy Lopez, Tyler Lacey, Pat O'Connor, Makai Wingo. Of those players, let's see what we got. So Player Football Focus has Marcus Davenport, 52.4. He will be a free agent soon, so we'll see what happens with that. Aidan McNeil, they gave him a 51.6. We get Roy Lopez, they gave him a 68.7. He will also be a free agent. And then we have DJ Reader. DJ Reader, they gave him also a 68.4. Player Football Focus, they're giving out grades. Let's see. And Tyleik Williams, they gave him a 62.6. We'll stick
You went to the
mostly.
big one.
Well, yeah, Aidan Hutchinson. Aidan Hutchinson, Player Football Focus gave him a 91.9. He recorded 14 and a half sacks, one interception, one big game. One of the big games that highlight Aidan Hutchinson. The Rams game where he had a sack and an interception. Aidan Hutchinson also had multiple games where he had multiple sacks. Defensive line, I'll give a B minus. I'll give a B minus. I know towards the first 8 weeks, I think we were a little better, but I think we kind of fell apart during that second half of that season. Just to bring up some stats, let's see. The Lions finished 5th overall in defense. Second in tackling, which I was surprised. Not that we tackle bad, but I didn't know we finished second. But good job, Lions. Pass rush, we finished 5th. Coverage, we finished 10th. A couple bad stats. The Lions had a run stop win rate of 28%, 29th in the NFL. Let's see. Our red zone defense, opposing passers had a QB passer rating of 104.3 inside the red zone. We gave up 19 touchdowns and we had 0 interceptions. So obviously, it's some things that we do have to improve on. Not all on the defensive line, obviously, but the defensive line as a group, I would go B minus.
Yeah, really good stats. And appreciate that. I would probably go a full letter grade below. I would give the defensive line a C minus if we're talking overall.
Ouch.
Yeah, my biggest issue with the Lions' defensive line, and I know the pass rush is one that is very constant, even though they did actually finish with a lot of sacks. I do think they gave quarterbacks way too much time to throw. And I think that a lot of those sacks may have been due to the nature of the defense that the Lions run in general. The quarterbacks knowing that they have a decent amount of time or they want to take a decent amount of time going up against the man coverage because eventually guys do break open as we saw. So the pass rush was fine. Aidan Hutchinson, obviously a standout. He was fantastic. But the defensive line, my biggest issue is that they struggled to stop the run in the second half of the season, and that just really was a bit shocking, um, considering where they were. It feels like, even in the beginning of the year, and the year prior, the couple years prior, Dan Campbell teams just hadn't been that soft when it came to stopping the run, and the Lions really fell off a cliff. It felt like in the second half of the season, and the guys in the interior in particular didn't do it seemed like a very good job. Um, Getting off blocks, making stops, things like that. Obviously, you got a lot of guys who are free agents or things are pending. Davenport, don't know if he'll be back or not. Obviously, you have the injury bug. That's always a thing with Marcus Davenport, unfortunately. Roy Lopez, I thought, was a pleasant surprise. I'd love to see the Lions look into bringing him back. DJ Reader may be a cap casualty. We'll see because he is on the third year of his 3-year deal. And I think the Lions could get off of that contract without owing him any money. At the same time, he is still a quality player, so maybe they do keep him around. Maybe they cut him, but then bring him back. Who knows? We have no idea. But I do think this defensive line needs some reworking for sure. And they need a more consistent pass rush. I know we didn't talk about Al-Qadim Muhammad, who did have, I believe, 10.5 or 11.5 sacks this season. That was great. Again, the cleanup sacks and the time to throw and those kind of things did contribute, I think, a little bit to some elevated or inflated stats. But also, you can't ignore those kind of things. He definitely is a very much rotation player for the Lions. But my biggest issue was the run defense falling off a cliff that way. I just thought that cost the Lions a lot because we know with the pass game, there's going to be some inconsistencies. If the pass rush is not getting there, if the coverage is not holding up, a lot of times one or the other wasn't working. But you got to be able to at least put people in obvious passing downs so that can work a little bit better. They didn't do that.
Yes. Thank you for your analysis. Oh, also, Al Qadim Muhammad. He wasn't exactly a starter. I believe he played maybe 40% of snaps or a
Mm-hmm.
little more. But Player Football Focus did give him a 74.3. So, and he did have the 11.5 sacks. So he did do pretty good. I know he is, 31, 32.
Mm-hmm.
Probably looking for another contract. I think the Lions are probably going to look to pay him, but we'll see.
Yeah, very productive player, very deserving.
We shall see. All right, let's see what other position we have. Linebacker. So we got Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone. Do we want to do anybody else or just kind of those three? Or
No, I think those three. Yeah.
already. So let's see. Okay, so Derek Barnes, he had ranked Player Football Focus 61.5. Alex Anzalone was a 67.5. And then Jack Campbell, I believe he was ranked second highest on the team, the third highest on the team, 90.2.
Mm.
Um, the linebackers, the way that they played this season, production wise, I mean, we had some ups and downs. Obviously, Jack Campbell is probably, going to get paid. Is he up for a new contract? I thought he was up for a new contract pretty soon.
Him and Gibbs are getting there. And it could happen this offseason, but it doesn't have to either.
Okay, yeah, there's rumblings of that's going to happen. We're going to have to pay him because he is the second best linebacker in the NFL. Argue with your mama. But I'm going to go linebackers B. I'm going to go B plus.
Yeah, I think I would give the linebackers a decent grade as well. I would say a solid B from the linebackers. Jack Campbell, obviously, in particular, was really, really good this year. Alex Anzalone still extremely productive. Not sure what the plan is for him because he also could be walking potentially this offseason.
Probably
Um,
will.
yeah, which I love Alex Anzalone, and I think that he's a really good player, and I would love to see the Lions bring him back. At the same time, I would love to see the Lions make some changes to their defensive scheme. I know that we talked about this, I think, on another podcast actually, as guests, but I don't like that the Lions play so much base coverage. They play three linebackers too often, and I think it affects them when it comes to stopping the pass. And I think they do that to be able to stop the run. But when they're struggling to stop the run, even with the three linebackers, it kind of defeats the purpose. So I would love to see the Lions play nickel a lot more and mix up their coverages. They play the most base coverage, I think, out of any team in the league, which I'm just not a big fan of. If it's Derek Barnes and Derek Barnes and Jack Campbell starting, you got Malcolm Rodriguez coming back as well. You got some guys in that room. I would love to see them deploy their linebackers a little bit less. So if Anzalone walks, I think that they could potentially weather that storm. That will require them to put more defensive backs on the field, but we'll talk about the defensive backs in a second. But as far as the productivity, yeah, they were fine. They really work good, and they are pretty versatile. You got some guys who can come up to the edge and rush the passer a little bit. The linebackers certainly were not the issue last season. They weren't perfect by any means, of course, but they weren't the issue with this defense, I don't think. And Kelvin Shepard is pretty good at coaching linebackers up as well.
Okay, well, thank you for that analysis, Mister. Okay, so now we are doing secondary, which gets a little dicey because there's a bunch of names and a bunch of people. All right, cornerbacks, secondary. Let's see what we got. We got DJ Reed. We got Terrion Arnold, Amik Robinson. Lions pay him. Rocky Sin, Khalil Dorsey, Arthur Mullet, Nick Whiteside at times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we got a lot of names. Player Football Focus gave Kirby Joseph at 59.1. Obviously because he got injured, didn't play a lot of the season. Didn't he get injured maybe week 8, maybe? I want to say?
I think it was earlier than that, yeah.
Week 7. Um, Obviously they're being a little tight-lipped about that knee injury. Nobody really knows a timetable. Is it, something that's degenerate or whatever they say. I guess we'll have to look more for an update of that. Terrion Arnold also got injured. He injured his shoulder. Player Football Focus, he finished with a 52.6. Amika Robinson finished with a 48.6. But I don't necessarily go by that grade with him. He's very scheme versatile. I think we should, let's see who else we got. Oh, Vontae Maddox. Vontae Maddox finished with a 79.1. Oh, we got Thomas Harper. He finished with a 77.8. I believe he got that good game. Him and Whiteside and Bullet. Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they played really well.
Jenna Boom.
Yeah, they played really well.
Brian Branch, he also suffered a season-ending injury. Player Football Focus gave him a 77.5. DJ Reed, Player Football Focus, I know he also had some injuries. They gave him a 65.2. He recorded 2 interceptions. He missed 6 games. He only allowed 1 touchdown though when in coverage. When QBs threw Reed's way, they only completed 57% of passes. Pretty good. You got Rocky Sin, 64.7. I believe he'll be a free agent too.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him. Let's see. I think that is. Did I miss anybody else? I know we had a lot of people.
No, I feel like that's good.
Let's see. Yeah, we probably miss. I don't think Mullet had a grade. I don't think though. I don't think he played enough per se to have a grade.
Yeah. What's your overall grade for the secondary?
The overall grade.
Your overall grade.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Hold on. I was just looking to see if he had any stats. Okay, he doesn't. So, overall grade for a secondary. Obviously, we had some shaky moments. Mm, I mean, we still finished fifth, even though we had some shaky moments. We still finished fifth in defense. Tackling was good. I think red zone is kind of where everybody more so collapsed. Secondary, and then we had a lot of injuries too. It's hard to say. This one, maybe a B minus. Yeah, I go with B minus.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out with the secondary because of the injuries. It just affects the grade so much when everybody gets hurt. Like Reed suffered an injury that set him out for 6 games. Terrion obviously missed a large portion of the season. Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, season-ending injuries. Like all your starters essentially suffer injuries outside of Amik Robertson. So it's hard to give a complete grade for the secondary. If I had to give them a grade, I would probably give them a solid C. Um, but it really is very complicated. And next season is going to be really interesting as well because there are those guys who are going to be free agents that you mentioned. If I'm prioritizing bringing anybody back, it would be Rocky Sin. I thought he played really, really well. He was outstanding. He plays the run really well. He's a great tackler. I thought he held up really well in coverage as well. I think that if they want to continue to play man to man, he's a better fit. I have issues with the way some players in the secondary performed. In particular, DJ Reed. I thought for him to be kind of the big ticket free agent, he was not good to me. I didn't see it. He got beat a lot. And in some cases, he got beat pretty handily. And again, injuries and stuff like that matter, and getting used to the team. But I would love to see him in this next year really pick it up and like play that tight, sticky coverage that he's more so known for. He's not a super big guy. He's not a guy that's necessarily going to get you a bunch of turnovers, but he's got to make things harder on wide receivers because there were some players that I know that Puka Nakua, guys like that are hard to cover. Like I'm not knocking anybody for giving up yards to Puka, but um, when you are supposed to be the number one corner, it should at least look competitive. And I don't know if it's the scheme that's the issue. I don't know if Kelvin Shepherd is leaving guys out too much on the island. But he struggled a lot. I wish that we did have Terrion Arnold for more of the season because he did start to look like he was coming around. He played particularly well in the game against Cincinnati, but the injury thing was weird with him too because it looked like he was going to be out for the season. Then he was back in 2 weeks. Then he got hurt again. Yeah, the injury thing is just really weird with the secondary. Like you said, we don't know what's going on with Kirby Joseph. Brian Branch is like a guy, like he's a stalwart back there. Like you really love to have him because he can play so many positions. Obviously, he suffered an Achilles injury, which I I believe in Brian Branch. He's going to bounce back for sure, but how long does it take is the question for him to bounce back because they need him in that secondary. They need him everywhere on his defense, to be honest. I think him and Aidan Hutchinson are the two most important players on the Lions defense. So the secondary is going to be interesting. I think you can go into the season with Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed as your starters. And if you bring back Amik Robertson and Rocky Sin, I feel pretty good about your corners. Your safeties, I just don't know with these injuries. I don't. I mean, Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are elite players, but they have some injuries that are just scary right now. Like they're really scary, and we don't know what they're going to look like next year. So I hope the Lions have a good backup plan. Avonte Maddox did play really well in limited snaps, which is nice, and I hope that they do bring him back as well. But can't bring everybody back at the same time. So the secondary might be the position group that could look the most different at the beginning of the season, and I'm just intrigued to see how Brad Holmes attacks it. There are some talented secondary players in this draft as well, so we'll see. We will see.
Yeah, I think I would like for Amik Robinson and Rocky Sin, but I mean we do have free agency coming up in March. If we can find, some better talent, but I personally I support those two coming back, but I think we need to go get a safety.
They do. They do, unless they're 100% sure that Kirby Joseph is going to be fine, and if Brian Branch is going to miss, maybe half the season, then you can weather the storm with the other safety. But um, yeah, they got to make some moves. They definitely got to make some moves.
So okay, so this question been floating around. Okay, so overall defense. Before I ask that question, Detroit Lions overall defense, us finishing fifth. What do you give us a grade overall Detroit Lions defense for the 2025 season?
Defense, I gotta give a C to. I gotta give a defense a C. They just kind of fell apart at certain points, and I really, again, would like to see Kelvin Shepherd make some adjustments. They stay so stuck in what they're doing, and they believe in their guys, and I understand them believing in their guys, but at some point you got to be willing to adjust. They got to get back to being able to stop the run first and foremost, and they got to find a way to make their pass rush and their coverage align. They have guys that can cover. They have guys that can rush the passer in a sense. That has to come together because when you got guys getting to the quarterback as pass rushers, but the secondary is leaving guys open, it doesn't work. Or when you have the secondary covering guys, but the pass rushers aren't getting there, and eventually guys get open, it doesn't work. The Lions got to figure some way to marry those two things together, and they just haven't been able to do so for it feels like the past couple of years now, when it really matters. So that has to happen. The defense has to modernize a little bit. This 4-3, 4-3, 4-3, like staying in base coverage, it's got to change up somewhat. So I feel really good about the offense next year. I need to see what the offseason is going to look like for the defense.
Yeah, we definitely need to make some moves on the defensive side. But question: would you rather the Lions get a premier rusher or a premier shutdown corner?
I would prefer a premier rusher because I think that it is more impactful. I think there are guys in the secondary that can do a good enough job. The pass rush, I just think that it needs to be disruptive for you to play this amount of man coverage, and sometimes it's not. Like if you double team Aidan Hutchinson, you're kind of good. Like quarterbacks have a lot of time to throw if you do that. They got to get somebody else that can occupy double teams. Aleem McNeil hopefully will be back up to speed next year, and he can bring some more pressure from the interior. But right now, I say a pass rusher because I feel okay about Terrion Arnold's ability to cover. I'm hoping DJ Reed bounces back. Amik Robertson gives you another name. Once the safeties are healthy, you got good safeties. I would love to see this team add another pass rusher or somebody that can give them a more immediate rush. I don't think they are, unfortunately, but I hope that they do.
You don't think so?
I don't think they're going after a big name pass rusher. I don't.
Maybe not a big name because I don't think we got the money for it. Maybe I know Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. I don't think we got the money for that, but maybe a tier under that. Maybe.
I would love that. I would love that. I would love if they look at options in the draft. There's a lot of things the Lions could do, but they also got to invest in this offensive line as well. So I'm not really sure what exactly the Lions' plans are. I don't know, but the defense needs to look at least a little bit different. You cannot go into the season with the same defense that you had last year. Otherwise, the offense is going to have to continue to outscore people, which they might. But it doesn't really give them any space to make mistakes. And we saw last year when the offense slowed up just a little bit, went from first to fourth maybe, the defense could not hold up. They couldn't hold up.
Yeah, I believe we finished fourth in points put up.
Yeah, the
What
offense
a
is
lot of
legit.
points.
This is a legit offense for a team to look out of sync for large portions of the season and to still have a top five offense. We know what this offense is capable of. It can easily be the best in the league. The defense gotta at least get to the top half-ish. It wasn't like that for large portions of last year.
Yeah, that second half of the season and to still be finish, fifth, be ranked fifth, and we finished 9-8. We finished the bottom of the division. That lets you know that The division has gotten better. The NFC North is not a gimme, so we need to make some moves. I mean, Green Bay, obviously, they made their move with Michael Parsons. Now, obviously, he suffered that unfortunate injury, but
Mm.
Green Bay made some moves. The Vikings kind of made some moves. Chicago made some moves. It's time for Detroit. We need to make some moves because this ain't the NFC of 2024. So,
Yeah, can't remain content, and that's really it. That's really it. The defense just has to get better.
yeah, and definitely that second half of the season because, like I said, the first 10 games we were like what 6-4, but it kind of fell apart after that.
Yeah, yeah, just got to be more consistent. They really just have to be more consistent. But I believe in them. I do. And Brad Holmes has done a lot of good things as the Lions GM. They just got to be a little less stubborn than they have been. Um, so if they can do that again, this team's ceiling is sky high. But I'm so intrigued to see what they do on the defensive side of the ball this year.
Yeah, and we will be covering it if as soon as it breaks. I might have to make a TikTok video without you, or you're gonna have to sign into the our TikTok and make a video react because
Nah, for sure.
I think
we'll
it's
be
about to
bring,
be some moves.
yeah, we'll be bringing y'all to action for sure. We'll definitely be bringing y'all to action.
We are about to sound off. Okay, anything else on your mind?
No, like I said, we will be coming with a look at the Arizona Cardinals offense and what to expect from the offensive coordinator coming up this upcoming season. So I'm working on that now. But other than that, I think we're good to go.
All right, we are good to go. I know it's a bunch of rumors and stuff we can cover. I know Alex Anzalone may or may not go to the Jets. I'm hearing that. I'm even hearing Amik Robinson being floated to the Jets, but nothing has been solid. So we kind of want to stay, guys, with because I know people are like, well, you're gonna cover like breaking news and a bunch of what if scenarios. We don't like to go too much that way, but we're entertain some of it. But I kind of want to keep it to what's on our team, what moves we're making, what breaking news has broke during draft season and free agency. Because I did get that question the other day. But yeah, so that wraps up the defensive grades. Overall, I rank the defense B minus. Keith ranks it C. So some things to improve on, but we will be back on top and the senior champions 2026. We will be back. So that is it for now. We'll probably be back. I'm gonna say probably the first week of March. Kind of want to get that free agency going. Now, some breaks. But for now, I think we'll be back in March. Give us about a couple weeks, and then that we'll start talking draft with our other collaborator in April.
For sure.
Alrighty. Well, you can follow 411 Lions on TikTok, Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, search us up. If you like the clips from TikTok, you could definitely follow our podcast, become regular listeners. We appreciate our regular listeners. CB and King Keith are out. But
Peace.